Jamal Warner, widely known for starring in the hit TV sitcom The Cosby Show, has died. Police in Costa Rica tell ABC News Warner drowned near a beach along the country's east coast. He was just 54 years old. The Emmy nominee won the hearts of Americans, starring as teenage son Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show from 1984 through 1992.
What's good? Yes, I got the flower in my hair. Today's my daughter's birthday. She put the flower there, so I'm rocking it. What? It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta. I just wanted to shout out and just spread some love and some good cheer. And you know, life is out here lifing, right? For me and for everybody else. But just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile. Like if you just take a minute to stop and take stock, I guarantee you can find at least one reason to smile. And if for some reason you can't find a reason to smile, then that's probably the best time to be the reason for somebody else to smile. So, find a smile for yourself and be a reason for someone else to smile. That's all I got. Listen to love because it's been a minute. Peace and love, and I'll be back soon.
All right, what's up with it, y'all? So look, man, I'm back again with another video, and I want to start this out the correct way by saying R.I.P. to Malcolm-Jamal Warner, who was 54 years old at the time of his demise. And I want to start this off also by sending out some love and healing energy to his family and sending my condolences to them as well, especially to his daughter and his wife. You know, it's just sad and unfortunate what did take place. And I'm also here to let y'all know a couple of things that's being misconstrued in the media, and also bring y'all other videos, you know, pertaining to the situation to give y'all bona fide facts. But basically, you know, the video that I just showed y'all, people are saying that was his last video before he lost his life. That's not true. That was just one of his last videos that he did for social media, like directly, you know, actually picking up his phone and recording it. But he also has been on camera in multiple places, and also he has a podcast too as well that I'm going to talk to y'all about in a couple of seconds. And I actually got him talking about that podcast towards the end of this video, if YouTube allows it to be played. So if you don't see it, it's because YouTube had a problem with it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But ultimately, you know, he was out vacationing with his wife and daughter. They were in Costa Rica, and he did in fact drown. There's no other things that is true about that. They have basically doubled down, tripled down on the facts of the case. Some of the things that were stated was that he was actually, you know, almost saved, but they got him too late. Witnesses went out, got his body, pulled him up to the, you know, surface, but he ultimately ended up still losing his life, you know, from drowning. And, you know, I see a lot of people speculating on what actually is going on with a lot of people losing their lives and things like that. I just want to simply say, you know, sometimes things just happen. Sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes, you know, God is calling people home, and it just happens in certain ways, you know. But I do understand people with the conspiracy theories, because some stuff do seem strange, but I always have been about the facts, and when I'm reporting on them as well. Now, my outside thoughts of certain things may be a little bit different, but ultimately, I got to report on this the correct way. Even though I'm not a blogger or nothing like that, I still got to give it to y'all real and raw. But ultimately, you know, I seen a couple of things online where his wife allegedly stated that he went out, he was gone for an hour or two, and they actually got concerned and got the authorities involved because he went on a solo swim. Now, you know, going to these other countries and stuff like that is very, very tricky. We don't know the waters. We don't know certain things about certain things. And it's just best to kind of, you know, take it easy, and also, you know, take the proper steps to make sure that you can ensure your safety when you're out of the states and stuff like that. But ultimately, you know, the video that I'm going to show y'all in a couple of seconds, hell, minutes, seconds, whatever, is the video that TMZ obtained from someone that was actually him being recorded at an airport or just landing there. He was somewhere, but somebody snuck a video of him and actually sold it to TMZ, I'm guessing, and they have posted it. Y'all about to see that. But, you know, the video that he did in the beginning of this video right here was very, very touchy. And one thing about this guy, he was always smiling, always pushing positivity. Everything that I seen about him was just showing me that he was a great man. Now, I haven't seen him in any scandals. From what I've seen, I haven't seen him in any scandals. I haven't seen him in any type of drama mess. And one thing I did notice about him too as well, he was very, very family oriented. Like, he loved his wife, he loved his child, and I'm big on that, you know, loving on your family that you created. But ultimately, you know, he lost his life, man, and it's just sad and unfortunate that the last time he seen his wife and his child was before, you know, he went on a swim. I don't know if he got to say a proper goodbye. You know, just so many different things that I think about. I've been going through with social media. You know, we all do this. We look at everybody's social media when they pass away, go all the way down their timeline and just see what they was, you know, on. And, you know, I was just shocked that it was him. You know what I'm saying? But it can happen to anybody. So, you know, like I said, I'm a realist, and I always just think about everything for what it really is. But ultimately, I'm going to let y'all get into these videos where they're giving updates, they're giving bona fide facts. He actually was speaking, you know, one of his last interviews, he was talking about his podcast that he started, you know, on the podcast. He was just spreading positive energy. He was just, you know, just being him. You know, and I always love and hug on people and stuff like that, man, because you'll never know when it's the last time you'll see them. But look, that's all I got to say about it. I'm going to let y'all get into it, and we're going to talk about this in the comment section. RIP to him. I'm sending out my condolences. And one more thing. Bill Cosby has stated that, well, allegedly, I seen it on TMZ. I just got through reading it. They basically said that Bill Cosby was sad about it, and he said that it felt like the same feeling when his son got killed from a robbery attempt. I didn't even know Bill Cosby had a son, but yeah, a long time ago he said that, you know, he lost his son, and it felt the same way. And I know he had a genuine love for him. You can see the chemistry in the show, you know. But hey, I done said enough. We're going to talk about it in the comment section. I hope you have a great day out there. And yeah, man, you know, keep being great. Love on your family. And I'm wishing y'all nothing but the best in y'all life. And I'm sending y'all nothing but positive energy out there. I'll holler at y'all later. All
Malcolm-Jamal Warner was just 14 when The Cosby Show catapulted him to superstardom.
Hey, what's happening, Dad?
He became a household name, playing Theo Huxtable, the only son of TV parents Bill Cosby and Felicia Rashad.
The Cosby Show has been a wonderful beginning and a wonderful stepping stone.
Now the beloved actor is dead at the age of 54. Investigators in Costa Rica say that the actor drowned Sunday afternoon while swimming in the province of Limon after he was swept away by a powerful ocean current, according to the investigators, who say Warner was rescued by bystanders and taken to the shore. He was treated by first responders, they added, but pronounced dead at the scene due to asphyxia. Warner leaves behind a wife and daughter. Just a few months ago, he posted this video on Instagram with a flower from his daughter tucked behind his ear.
No matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile.
Warner spent 8 seasons in his breakout role on The Cosby Show, then went on to build an impressive on-screen career, starring in Malcolm and Eddie.
I don't need you to explain.
And taking on reoccurring roles in Suits and The Resident.
Do you think my behavior is a weakness? No, it's my superpower.
Warner was also an accomplished musician, even winning a Grammy in 2015. He'd recently launched a podcast called Not All Hood, aimed at telling important stories within the Black community. The latest episode dropping just days before his death.
I loved your take and your reminder that the hood should be as celebrated as the rest of the lanes of Black culture.
Among those honoring Warner tonight, former co-star Tracee Ellis Ross, who wrote What an Actor and Friend You Were. Warm, gentle, present, kind, thoughtful, deep, funny, elegant. You made the world a brighter place.
I think I've been blessed, but I've also worked hard for it, and it feels good.
Chloe Malas joins us now live in studio. And Chloe, you've just learned who Malcolm-Jamal Warner was with in Costa Rica.
Tom, that's right. I just spoke to a source close to Warner who says that he was actually in Costa Rica with his wife and his young child, and that his family is currently in the process of trying to get his body back to the United States and make funeral arrangements. But this source also telling NBC News, Tom, that it doesn't look like anything suspicious happened, that it just looks like a very tragic accident.
All right, Chloe Molas with that sad passing. Chloe,
Breaking news. Actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner, widely known for starring in the hit TV sitcom The Cosby Show, has died. Police in Costa Rica tell ABC News Warner drowned near a beach along the country's east coast. He was just 54 years old. The Emmy nominee won the hearts of Americans, starring as teenage son Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show from 1984 through 1992. Warner recently starred in the Fox medical drama The Resident. He was also a producer, director, poet, and musician. He was married with a daughter, but chose not to publicly disclose their names. ABC News' Matt Rivers is tracking the latest from Mexico City. Matt, this is a shock. This is a tragedy. He was adored and beloved by so many. What more do we know about his death?
Yeah, there's not a ton of details coming out, but what we're getting from the Costa Rican National Police is that it happened on the country's east coast. It is a big touristy area, about a 3-hour drive outside of the capital of San Jose. It was in a beach called Cocles near a town called Limon. It was on the Atlantic coast, and what they're telling us, what the police officials are telling us, is that he drowned in what they described as a high current area. They say his body was found on Sunday afternoon, and that he was then positively identified as Malcolm-Jamal Warner. So obviously a huge shock. They say he was on a family vacation, so just a tragedy all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, a shock to the entertainment world as well. I mean, what are you hearing about the industry's reaction?
Yeah, I mean, you're getting all kinds of celebrities that are starting to come out now that this news is starting to break. You know, we're hearing from people like Jamie Foxx, we're hearing from people like Holly Pete, people that had a connection to Malcolm-Jamal Warner. And I think beyond just celebrities, you have to talk about the overall cultural impact. Our younger viewers might not really understand the impact that The Cosby Show had, but this is one of the most powerful, most watched television programs really in TV history. I mean, there was tens of millions of people each week tuning into that show. They kind of felt like they were a part of that family. And so Malcolm-Jamal Warner and the character he portrayed was really beloved. But beyond that, you kind of mentioned it off the top, Selena. I mean, he was a producer. He won a Grammy. He was Emmy nominated. He was an executive producer on the Magic School Bus children's show on PBS. This was a prolific actor, director, producer, and his loss will certainly reverberate across Hollywood.
Matt, thank you so much. And as you said, I mean, producer, director, poet, musician, we're talking about a multi-talented person who we've now lost.
Malcolm-Jamal Warner, along with podcast co-host, award-winning journalist Candace Kelly. So great to meet both of you guys.
Hey. Good to see you.
So a podcast.
Yeah.
You needed another venue to have something to say. You're going to just take over all mediums. The name, Not All Hood.
Yes. Well, actually, so Not All Hood was the name came from our third host, Wayusi Baraka, and the reason for the title is combating the narrative of Black life or Black culture that the media focuses on, and
that we're all one thing.
Yeah, and the whole concept is we're not all hood. The Black community is not a monolith. There's so many levels and lanes to the Black community, and we wanted to have a space where we could acknowledge, discuss all of those lanes, because they're so varied in terms of our perspectives and our opinions and our ways of life, and we wanted to be able to have a place where we can talk about all of those things, discuss all of those things, and shed light on the not all hood aspects of who we are.
All right. And Candace, look, you do this a lot.
Yeah.
You got a lot to say.
I do.
Oh, I should got you.
But for a podcast, that's a good thing.
Right. For the time.
Why did you want to be a part of this?
You know what? When we first started talking, we talked about it not even with my involvement being on air. Just my involvement in the project was just an interesting part of the whole thing. But then we got in a conversation for about, 60, 90 minutes, all of us. And then we thought, you know what, this is really coming. Well, I guess y'all said that after you got off the phone. And so maybe she should join us. And especially, you know, since I do like to talk about different subjects and have been for so long. And certainly he has too. And so that's really how it came together. And we just talked really about kind of this master narrative that exists out there, that when we tell our stories and share our stories, we can really counter by just really sitting down and talking about our experiences. But there is one area that we chose to focus on, and that was being Black in America. So even if you were Jamaican or Ghanaian, when you come to America and people see you as they see you, there's a thread. And so that was important that we're talking about experiences in America, because abroad it's totally different. So that's how we really came up with this whole concept of people just being able to share openly, and to see where we land, and hope that there's enough you know, discussion and counter discussion to make sure everybody's voices are heard, because there are so many, because we're not all a monolith.
And who are you? What's your audience? Who do you want to be your audience? Do you feel like you're talking primarily to other Black people because they recognize the experience, whatever it is? Or do you feel like there are other people that need to be listening to this conversation so they get past thinking, well, they're Black, so they must think alike, they must live alike?
Right,
they must,
right.
You know.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's twofold. You know, inspired. I'm constantly inspired by Henry Louis Gates' quote: "There are 42 million Black people in America, therefore there are 42 ways of being Black." I think it's 47 now.
Yeah, it's 47 now. Right,
47.9 now. So for me, 'cause I don't think we have ever really talked about their target audience. But for me, it's Black people first and foremost, and non-Blacks, you know, are welcome to listen, and it's definitely an education for them as well. But for me, it's first and foremost for us as the Black community to remember, to acknowledge, to respect the different layers and different lanes of the Black community that really may not even may not be our vibe. You know, there's this idea that we should all get along. Right? Like, so this podcast is not for the three of us to get along. It's not for us to agree with everything.
That's true.
Yeah, right?
That's true.
Yeah. It's a place where, you know, I keep referring to, it's a place for civil discourse and respectful challenging of ideas and perspectives.
Which everybody these days kind of needs a lesson.
Right.
And
This is the civil part, especially, right?
And for us, you know, again, it's for us because there's there's classism, there's racism within our own community. So this is a space, a safe space, where we can again acknowledge and talk about all things that pertain to Black community and Black culture.
You know, you guys jumped right into it with the conversation about the N-word.
Yeah, we did.
And that wasn't planned.
Did. No, it wasn't
not
planned.
Yeah, it just came. And a lot of the podcast comes from, germinates from just our Zoom conversations. Like, we have weekly Zoom calls that are supposed to last an hour, and hour and a half, 2.5 hours later, we're still talking.
Right.
So the podcast is also kind of an extension of that, because it's really us having organic conversations.
Yeah, and that's really key. And this is something that people will find themselves in, because they're at home too, or they're at the office or wherever, talking about, well, they're not at the office talking about a few of these things, but they are talking about these things. They're going to find this is very organic, and that's what we wanted. Something very organic where we might kind of know what we want the topic to be about going into it. But if it changes, that's okay. You know, it doesn't have to be a necessary beginning, middle, and an end, but just a thought-provoking conversation.
Well, that's how a conversation is supposed to go.
That's right, with the purpose.
You follow it, you go where it takes you. Why was talking about the N-word, the use of it? Who should be using it? Should it even be used? Why is it still around? Why was that something you thought, you know what, that's a conversation worth having?
Because it comes up. It comes up. Even amongst us, it comes up. We've been talking about it today. We talked about it yesterday in
but
the
you know,
car.
a lot of it comes up in the context of music. And then that transitions into, specifically different types of arts. But the music and hip hop and things of that nature, people treat very separately from, you know, I always use the example of an August Wilson play where the N-word is used. And then how do we look at it in those particular contexts, and how do we look at it outside of that context too? And then that's where we really get into the conversation. And it's nice because, as he said, while we all have different opinions about it, we're all very respectful. But I think that people, when they look at it, they'll find themselves in it because they're going to fall somewhere on the spectrum with the N-word, because we all come to the table, everybody comes to the table with their story about the N-word, where it began, you know, how they feel about it now, and just in the context in which we live in 2024. So.
And even hip-hop itself. I mean, look, I think we're all astonished at what it has become.
Yes.
You know? But there are some aspects of it that I think various people question.
Yeah.
You know, and so that is worth a conversation, because you understand, you have to talk about, you know, the value of this or that. So is that something that you have talked? I mean, is that in a lot of ways, you're not just talking about Black life, but you're also challenging us as
very much
people
so.
in a way.
Very much so.
So, and is that something you thought about when you sat down and said, we're going to do this, that, yes, we want to get this out here because we do want all these various facets of our community to get light shown on them, but there are times when we need to be challenged. Is that?
Yes.
When I say challenged, I mean, the challenge may be just actually getting us to talk about it.
Now that is
to be
true.
honest about it and to feel comfortable enough.
Right.
You know, because maybe there are people that have a problem talking about something, but listening to you discuss it, all of a sudden it seems like, yeah, maybe I do have something to say on that, and I'm not exposing myself too much.
Yeah, I think a lot of at least, you know, feedback that we're getting so far is, you know, especially, you know, because the section on the N-word has gone viral on social media. You know, a lot of people are, you know, owning up to, you know, kind of checking themselves on how much they may use the word. But in terms of in terms of challenging perspectives and challenging ideas, very much so. Like, it even happens with me. Like, you know, I can be very opinionated. Right.
No.
And I'm very strong in my opinion. But then Candace will say something that, even though it may not change my opinion, it opens up my perspective. It gives me more of an expanded perspective, and go, oh, okay, you know what? That's fair. So that it helps me. I think for me, I get challenged in ways that it helps me let go of judgments that I may have that I wouldn't have necessarily owned up to or been conscious of, if that makes sense.
And I would change out the word with validate too a little bit. I think that some people will find, okay, well, some of these things that I've at least been thinking about, or that have been bothering me, or that I just wanted to talk about, I feel validated now, and that there's a place in a space where someone else is talking about it, and I can find myself in that conversation.
And not feel judged.
That's right, and not feel judged at all.
One of the things I was reading, Malcolm, is that you have, and I can understand it considering that you've sort of been in the public eye since you were very young. So I would think at some point you kind of want to have something for yourself that you're not having to share with everybody. Have you found it easier to be more vulnerable with the podcast, and perhaps in some other manner to be more open about sharing personal things? Is that
I think it's kind of a byproduct of doing the podcast, right? So I'm very, you know, I'm pretty, you know, I have a private life. I'm pretty adamant about keeping my private life private, but at the same time, I'm also pretty transparent in terms of my music, my poetry, my perspectives. This show, with the podcast, there's a little bit more vulnerability there because I'm not prepping. Like, it's not poetry that I've already written. We don't have you know, questions already written out. So I don't have any answers prepped. And you know, in some ways, because we're going off the cuff and I'm just expressing myself, there are some things that come out that might be, you know, surprising for people, but even surprising for me, that I'm actually sharing this. And I think the thing with the N-word.
look, you've done a little bit of everything. You got a Grammy. You've got another album nominated for a Grammy. I love this grin. Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Yeah.
So, do you feel that the work you've done in the past, I mean, from obviously the acting, the roles you played, the music, you are not afraid to step out there and lead with, what's important to you and your feelings. How did that prepare you for this? And do you think that work made this an easier gig for you? That it was sort of the next iteration of what you had to offer. I mean, I think that you've offering what's important to you, what you think about in your music,
right.
And now podcasting. You're actually telling people what you feel and what you're thinking.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an extension of what I've been doing, and like I said, this way, because even with the poetry, there is some structure there, but to do the podcast again, where it's unrehearsed, I haven't thought a whole lot about what it is I'm going to say, but I also feel like I'm also at an age where I still have some things that are worthwhile. There is some, dare I say, wisdom that I have kind of accumulated, throughout this time. And I also feel like, when we talk about generation, we talk about like generation gap. We were having a conversation yesterday, and I was saying how, we're at the age where we're still the bridge between the generation gap. There are young people.
I think I'm on the other side of the bridge.
I don't know.
Thank you for including me.
We're still there. But we have access to elders that our young people don't. And we have the ear to young people that our elders don't. So there's also, I think for me, being in my 50s now, I've always felt a responsibility for social awareness, and I feel like this is really just an extension of that. There's a responsibility that I feel that all of this stuff that I have learned all these years, I can't just keep it to myself. I can't just hold it for myself. I can't hold it just for my daughter and nephews. I feel like there's information, there's perspectives, there's wisdom and experiences that I have to share, and I guess I feel kind of a responsibility to that, especially as we're combating. There's so much that we're combating in terms of images, in terms of what young people are being flooded with. So I think that's the other thing that makes me, feel like, I have to. You
feel a responsibility.
Yeah.
Because you have the means and the wherewithal to do something and say something, and that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah. And unencumbered by, a company who is, financing my art.
Right.
So there aren't higher ups that I have to listen to, who dictate to me what I'm going to say.
You realize that there are a lot of people in the country that look at you and go, Theo Huxtable.
Yeah.
Seriously, do you still? I mean, do you feel the pressure of that sometimes? It's a blessing.
Sure, not at all.
But I just wonder, because all I think about is Theo trying to figure out how he's going to support himself in an apartment.
Sure.
He didn't want to work because he just wanted to be a regular person.
Yeah, I love that.
It's just such a cute episode.
That's actually one of my favorite. But I'm real quick to correct people. It's Malcolm, it's not Theo. And I was even doing that back then because I was very clear that Theo was not going to be the end all be all. The concept at 16 years old that this is the height of my career was not a thought that excited me. Yeah. So my sights had always been life after Cosby. My perspective on success, because people would misconstrue the popularity of the Cosby Show as my being successful as a teenager, and I was always very clear that success for me, it wouldn't be until I was 40, 50, 60 years old, still working consistently as an actor, as a director, that I could look back and say I've had a successful career. So now in my 50s, I'm embracing like, oh wow, Yeah, I have had a successful career.
I would say you've done quite well.
But there's still a lot of, life left.
Yeah.
You know, and there's still bills that have to be paid.
Yeah.
And a daughter that has to be raised. So
right.
It's been a great journey, and I'm excited about the journey ahead as well.
Yeah.
And leaving a mark and helping other people. I think that you just raised an interesting question that might make it interesting topic. What is success? How do you define, I mean, there's so many versions of it.
Yeah.
Because I got a nephew that keeps telling me success to him is he's trying to figure out how he can make some money online. He doesn't really actually want to have a job. He just wants somebody to pay him to wear their clothes. I'm like, that is, it's a fantasy.
Right.
Or it's the American way.
Yeah, right, to find a way.
Listen,
we have talked about social media and young people and how it transitions from social media into the real world because the two are this far apart. You have to find a happy medium. It's interesting that you would bring that up. I would just say, though, quickly, success, and this is what we've talked about, too. We talked about joy. Success is really if you happy in my own space.
Exactly.
And really being able to decide for myself what's next for me. And as a part of the show, to just connect it to that we often talk about the Black experience inside of Black trauma and something very heavy. But we have a good time. We also want to share that, we don't always have to be in the downtrodden. That we are a happy people and have gone through because of and in spite of, and have done it as amazing, great warriors and happy on the other side. And that's what my days often feel like, and I'm sure yours too. Sometimes it's interrupted, though, when I'm turn on the news or somebody, questions me or something.
Now you're blaming me?
Sorry.
Just kidding.
But yes, so it's finding that all that joy within that too. That's really beautifully successful when I think about just the history of my people. To be here in this space and to be happy and to be deciding, to be autonomous, that's lovely.
Yeah,
you were so smart, you got her.
See, I told you. I told you. So, I love doing these interviews with Candace because then people,
it makes you look really smart.
Because I figure people, people look at me and they know that integrity. I lead with integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so I think people know anything that I'm involved with there's going to have integrity there. But when Candace talks, people go, oh, this is going to be a smart show. Right?
No.
It's not just true.
You have money. I think that you all bring your individual gifts to the table.
Yeah.
And it is it sounds like it's a smart fun. And what I heard of the N-word discussion, it was smart fun show.
Yeah, it was fun.
Where can we find you? Really, everywhere that you listen to, you're on YouTube, right?
YouTube,
yes.
Spotify,
and wherever
Apple.
you listen to your podcast.
Yes.
On YouTube, we can actually see you.
Us, yes.
Yes,
you kind of good looking to look at.
Oh, well, thank you. All right.
Not All Hood is the podcast. It really does sound like an interesting conversation. It's such a pleasure to talk with both of you.
Thank you.
Good to
Thank
speak with you,
having us.
too.
You want to come back, just call Tracy and go, I'm coming.
All right.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
I won't be here. No, I will be working, though. We will be right back.